Hey everyone, welcome into the Arena Fantasy Series Discussion Portal. I'm your host and the founder of the Arena Productions here on YouTube and also on Patreon. And we're going to be discussing episode 7 of course, House of the Dragon. So, of course, I've got my Targaryen shirt on and everything. And before we get into the breakdown, I just want to let all of you viewers know that this is going to be a spoiler-filled breakdown of episode 7 of House of the Dragon. So if you have not watched the episode yet, please go and watch the episode and then come back and enjoy this breakdown of episode 7. So that is your spoiler warning. I just want to let all of you know that I'm going to be throwing out a ton of spoilers about the episode here when I do the breakdown. Okay? So let's get started. So the first thing we get, obviously, is Driftmark, and it's the title of the episode, obviously, and we get, of course, King Viserys and Alicent and the whole bunch here on the shores of Driftmark, of course, for Laena Valyrian's funeral. And so we see all of that, and we see Laena Valyrian's, of course, sarcophagus dropped into the ocean. So that is a traditional way to have a funeral for House Valyrian and for the Valyrians. So anyway, we got all of this. And the part that I liked about this the most, I think, was the scene. Obviously, Viserys is getting worse and worse in each episode. But as he approaches his brother Daemon there, and Daemon, obviously, during the ceremony, he's all chuckling and everything. And so he's pretty much to himself here after the ceremony. And Viserys comes up to him and is basically pleading with him to come back to King's Landing and be on the court again. Be a member of the court, and he rejected him. But it was interesting how Viserys was saying about Laena Valyrian that the gods were cruel, and then Daemon shoots back at him basically the gods have been really cruel to you, and Viserys is he's admitting that. But just Daemon wouldn't have it. He's like saying, I live in Pentos, and I don't need any of this. So I thought that was an interesting conversation there. But anyway, let's move on. And I thought the best part of the episode, obviously, was when Aemond, young Aemond there, goes up and just has the guts to walk up to Vhagar. And I thought that was the coolest scene. And of course, obviously, we understand like the ropes that are on Vhagar now. I guess it was because he's so huge of a dragon, obviously, that you have to basically climb him. And so using the ropes to climb. But before that, I mean, it's like he's about to grab the rope. And then, of course, Vhagar wakes up. You see the eye pop open and everything. That was pretty cool. And then, of course, Aemond, using his Valyrian to calm Vhagar down because Vhagar was about to vaporize him. And then Vhagar lets him get on him, and then he starts riding, and it kind of reminded me of season 8, episode 1 of Game of Thrones when Jon gets on Rhaegal for the first time and actually flies with Daenerys on Drogon. I thought that was really cool. You see Aemond flying around with Vhagar there. So obviously Aemond claims Vhagar, and then he goes back, after he lands and goes back into the castle, kind of in the pits of the castle. It seems like at Driftmark, and obviously he gets into a fight with his cousins, and of course Viserys stabs him in the eye, and that's where he loses his eye. So then we get to, of course, the main hall, and Viserys, obviously, he's like limping around, and he's got his cane and all, and he's shouting, telling everybody to shut up and be quiet. And then he's trying to get Aemond to tell him who is responsible for calling Rhaenyra's children bastards. Because basically Aemond was calling the kids bastards, when they got into the altercation where he lost his eye. So anyway, there's the back and forth, and Rhaenyra's in the room, obviously. And it's kind of interesting that Daemon's kind of in the background and he's watching and all. And of course, Alicent, she's pissed off as all hell, and she wants retribution, and she wants to have Lucerys's eye gouged out, and so she's telling Sir Kristen Cole, to go and gouge the eye out and everything. So that was terrible. But then the scene, of course, when Rhaenyra and Alicent, of course, Alicent is so frustrated that King Viserys is like, let's we're a family. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be quarreling with each other. And that's the thing about this King Viserys, man. I mean, he is so naive, and it's unfortunate that he, cannot just put his foot down, harder than he does. I mean, he's too lenient, and this is why a lot of this has come to pass. So, it's unfortunate, but so Alicent just takes matters into her own hands, and she grabs the cat's paw dagger, from King Viserys, and she charges Rhaenyra. And then, of course, they, are holding on to each other. And then as Alicent, comes back, she basically cuts Rhaenyra's arm, and she needs stitches for that, obviously. But I mean, so, at the end of the altercation here, basically, you get the stare down basically between the blacks and the greens. I mean, so it's really getting to the point now where these two factions, it's interesting. Driftmark, of course, the name of the area of the Valyrians, but Driftmark, everything is drifting away. The families are drifting apart from each other, obviously, and they left their mark definitely in this episode, and the scene here with them staring down each other at the very end there, that was pretty interesting. And then, of course, the situation with Laenor. I mean, obviously Laenor comes in and talks to Rhaenyra and all, and they just, they know that things just didn't work out between them, unfortunately. And Laenor, he is a cool guy. I mean, he's an honorable man, and Rhaenyra, she tells him that, that, hey, you're kind of a special type of person. You don't see too many people like that in this world, but they just know that it's not going to work out and all. And obviously, Rhaenyra and Daemon on the beach, they got busy and all, and it's at the point now where, in the episode where they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And obviously, they come, basically Rhaenyra and Daemon, as the ship is leaving, as the king and, Alicent and, Lord Strong, the basically the new master of whisperers, they're talking on the ship, and Alicent's telling him that, I'm going to be needing your support in the future, so be ready. But as they're going away, and as Vhagar and Aemond fly off, and all the the other dragons fly off with the ship back to King's Landing, Rhaenyra and Daemon are still there on Driftmark, and they're basically making their plan, and they're talking about Laenor and the situation. And Daemon's just basically like, okay, set him free. So they come up with a plan, and of course, Sir Carl here, Daemon talks to him, and basically they set up this master plan, and it's really interesting. Basically, Daemon, he basically snaps a guy's neck, and the guy that he snaps the neck of basically has the same, characteristics and height and everything as Laenor. And so basically Sir Carl is, in the main hall there, and meets up with Laenor, and they get into an altercation, supposed altercation, obviously, and then Laenor kicks the boy onto the floor, and then the boy, of course, runs to tell the guards, but they've already set up everything, basically. So when that boy went to go and to to tell the guards basically they threw the dead person into the fire to make it look like it was Laenor, because obviously, as you see in the episode, Laenor is like as he's fighting Carl there, it looks like he's up against the fire and the flames there in the fireplace. But so anyway, Corlys and Rhaenys come back, and they see the burnt corpse, and they think it's Laenor. But obviously, as we end the episode, it's like Laenor has shaved his head, and basically he had faked his death, obviously, and gets on the boat with Sir Carl, and goes off onto the ship to take off, probably to Pentos and probably to Essos. So we're probably gonna see more of what happens with that. Probably in episode 8, maybe. We'll probably see something like that. So, but and then of course at the end of the episode there, when they're doing all of this, obviously we see the traditional Valyrian style wedding between, of course, Rhaenyra and Daemon. And it's interesting, the little Easter eggs, in a sense. We get to see dragon glass for the first time in this series, because of course Daemon and Rhaenyra, as a traditional part of the wedding, they cut their lips to mix their blood as they kiss. So you see Daemon using the dragon glass there to cut his lips. So that was pretty interesting. So anyway, and obviously I'm sure King Viserys doesn't know about this as of yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in episode 8. But anyway, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this series. And it was a really cool episode. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Aemond flying Vhagar for the first time. Kind of reminded me, like I said before, of Jon Snow or Aegon the Sixth Targaryen flying, of course, Rhaegal in Game of Thrones, season 8, episode 1. But anyway, it was an interesting episode. A lot of the political scheming and everything is taking place, and we're going to see a lot more of that in episode 8 probably. So anyway, if you have any comments about this episode, anything that you really enjoyed about it or you didn't like so much about it, leave us some comments. We'd really be interested to hear what you have to say about episode 7 of House of the Dragon. And if you like this episode and this breakdown of episode 7, please, of course, hit that like and the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell for the next time we drop a new episode or breakdown of course, House of the Dragon and all the other content that we make here on the Arena Productions. And thank you so much for all of you that support us and watch our content here. We really appreciate it. So anyway, I've been your host, and I am the founder of the Arena Productions, Expat, and we hope to catch you in the next breakdown episode of House of the Dragon. So take care, everyone. Peace out.